Hey, I'm Randy Younger, New York City's go to film enthusiast. Every week, I dive deep into the world of cinema with special guests from the New York City film scene. Whether I'm interviewing industry insiders or comparing the latest releases, there's always something for every movie lover. Join me as I explore the magic of film and discover what makes these movies unforgettable. Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger, and this is a special episode of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film and sometimes TV. And tonight is a bittersweet affair because about a month ago we had lost a wonderful member of the comedic and entertainment community. Talking, of course, about Miss Catherine O'Hara. She left behind an amazing wealth of humor in her film and TV roles. And tonight we're going to celebrate her life and her career. And I just wanted to introduce the people, wonderful people on my panel tonight. We have Rachel Kolb. Rachel, welcome.
Happy to be here.
Eric Godfrey, welcome back.
Hello.
And Tyler Michael.
Hey, great to be back as always.
So, guys, we have a lot to talk about. Catherine O'Hara, obviously one of comedy's great women, and she was known most notably for her for improvisational skills, her musical skills, her acting chops. She was also a very talented dramatic actress as well. And tonight we're going to talk about her greatest hits, so to speak. Some of her TV work, definitely her film work, and her earliest stuff that she's done was on Second City out of Toronto. It was basically the Canadian Saturday Night Live, and she was basically a member of that troupe in the 70s. Then it turned into Second City TV, which was very popular. And she was just so diverse in her roles. She was hilarious. She did great impersonations of celebrities. She created new characters as well. And Rachel, I know you're a fan of the show. I'm a casual admirer of SCTV. From what I've seen, I love it, but I think you're a little bit more well versed in it. So I'm going to just start off with you.
Yeah, sadly, it took Catherine O'Hara's death for me to really delve into SCTV. I'd always been aware of it, and I've been such a fan of so many of the alumni of SCTV,
Hmm.
like John Candy and Rick Moranis, of course, and it's the roles that she does on that show, like some of them are just full on, just like slapstick. Some of them are like real real thinkers, like her impersonations, like especially her impersonation of Catherine O'Hara, which was really great. And I there's one particular original character that she came up with. There was a running bit involving a game show that's hosted by Alex Trebell, which obviously is supposed to be a take on Alex Trebek.
Hmm.
And to be
Right.
honest, SNL took a lot of its Celebrity Jeopardy stuff, I feel like, from this ongoing sketch.
Hmm.
But there is a character called Margaret Meehan because the game show, the contestants are all students from like the local high school or the local community college.
Right.
And Margaret Meehan is Catherine O'Hara's character, who is eternally the one who has to show how smart she is. It has to be the first one to buzz in, to the point that she will buzz in before the question's even asked. And she will guess absolutely wild things that have nothing to do with anything. And it always gets to the point that even though all of the members of the panel are just wild and like just completely not answering the questions in their own special way, much like Celebrity Jeopardy. She is always the one that gets to Alex Trebell the most. She is always the one that sets off, like, that just knows how to push his buttons and just trigger him. So,
Hmm.
and it's funny because when I was watching it, I was like, I wonder if this is based off of someone. And I looked it up and it's like, nope, this is not some obscure Canadian celebrity. This is something that she created whole cloth that just feels like a real person. Um, and the very sort of straight earnestness that she plays the character and her desire to be seen as smart is so funny. Just so funny. And there's definitely a lot of clips of it from on YouTube, so very easy to find it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you mentioned a couple of her castmates. One of them, most notably, probably Eugene Levy, who
Yes.
she would go on to work with in a ton of other amazing comedies, which we're going to get to a little bit later. Films directed by the great Christopher Guest, and of course, Schitt's Creek. But we have plenty of time to get into that. But yeah, you just described some great moments from the show, and yeah, I think most of the clips are on YouTube, so people can just enjoy it. Check it out, see some great 70s comedy that's still relevant today, and it's really funny. She did a great job. She was so like out there. She did everything. She sang, she impersonated really notable people and she created new characters, like you said. So it's just that brain of hers was like so sharp,
Mhm.
and yeah, you had to be very quick to do improv. I've tried it. I'm okay at it, but she was the queen, I'd say,
Yes.
for sure. So, all right, so STV, yeah, check that out, guys. If you haven't seen it, it basically is the Canadian SNL, so it's awesome. Um, all right, I wanted to get into her first major film role, came in 1988, and I think this is collectively one of our favorite movies. It's definitely one of my favorite comedies. It is, of course, Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, and O'Hara plays Delia Dietz, who's basically a yuppie artist who moves into a small town. I think it takes place in I think it was shot in Vermont, but it takes place in upstate.
Mhm.
And everybody knows the story of the ghost with the most, who's basically terrorizing this family. And they kind of deserve it because, especially Delia, she's really obnoxious, I must say. But she's hilarious, and we all know the scene at the dinner table of Deo. Yeah, just so many great moments, and she's definitely responsible for giving us some great, memories from that movie. It's one
Yeah.
of Burton's most, out there movies. And yeah, she really did a great job, and she was just right at home, I think. So I'm happy that that was her first major role, the movie that really propelled her into film stardom. And yeah, just a lot of great things about that movie. It spawned a sequel about 2 years ago. Not as great. She reprised her role in that. It was nice to see her back in that house amongst all the hijinks. Ty, I want to start with you. Thoughts on Beetlejuice looking back?
Well, I will admit this. Beetlejuice is actually my second favorite Tim Burton movie that he's directed
Nice.
because this is really him exploring his creativity. This is him putting everything he can on the table.
Mhm.
And even though there are things that don't make sense from a narrative standpoint in terms of the lore of the world,
Mhm.
um, it's the charm of the characters that gets you through it. It's the humor, which is very exaggerated, very cartoony, very comical. It's the spontaneous nature of the film with its surprises, its visual effects, and it's carried together by not only an iconic performance by Michael Keaton, but I dare say one of Danny Elfman's most iconic scores. I
Agreed.
honestly think this is one of Tim Burton's finest, and I tend to like Tim Burton a lot more when he's just since he's never really strong with plot or hardly strong with plot, he usually takes I like when he just takes a backseat and just goes crazy with his creativity, and that's what I particularly love about Beetlejuice. It's a
Absolutely.
creative mouthful.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. And it's one of the first Elfman scores as well. It was Burton's second movie. And yeah, they hit the ground running. They really let their creativity explode, and it's amazing. And Catherine is so great. I loved her in this. I loved her look. I loved
Mhm.
her artwork in the movie. I mean, she didn't make the artwork, her character did, but so out there, so crazy. Uh,
And if
Yeah.
I may add, I
yeah.
kind of like that. I kind of like that Delia is a mirror image of her stepdaughter
Yep.
Lydia. because they're
Hmm.
both very strange. They're both very unusual in different ways, except Delia's more pretentious with it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like that, even though they have a lot in common, they also just hate each other for how egotistical one is compared to the other, which I thought is a very fascinating combo. I think that
Mhm.
really makes for an interesting relationship between the two, as subtle as it is in the film.
Yeah, and of
Okay.
course that their names are kind of like the
Yeah.
others flipped. Delia.
Right,
Oh
So
yeah, Lydia.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Well, I was gonna say, like, to be fair, I know the sequel's okay,
mhm,
Beetlejuice, but
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
easily one of
yeah.
the highlights is the relationship between Lydia and Delia now that they're all much
they're
more
both
mature and
flipped.
grown up, and
Mhm.
that even though she still holds on to the pretentious artist thing, that ends
Mhm.
up biting her literally and figuratively, in the movie.
Right.
She is definitely one of the highlights of the sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Mhm.
And even though it's not really cool to talk about Jeffrey Jones, but I think he had a great chemistry
Mhm.
with O'Hara. I thought they were so cute together. You believed that
Oh,
they were
yeah.
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
married couple, and they just played off each other very well. Also, the interactions between O'Hara and Glenn
Ortho.
Sh yeah, Otho, thank you. Glenn
Yeah.
Shadix. He is another hilarious character. Just a great
Oh, yeah.
cast overall. Great cast. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and
Hmm.
I think it would have been so easy to cross that line of that she's a character that is obnoxious to people in the movie, but she's entertaining for us to watch.
Right.
And
Hmm.
so many performers get that wrong, and they just make a character that the audience wants to see get off screen as quickly as possible.
There's another thing that just literally just came to me. Delia and Moira Rose are kind of similar, in a little bit
A
of a
lot of similarities, yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, kind of snobby, artistic, New York socialite.
Mhm.
Swap out the sculptures for her wigs.
Yeah. And just add that accent, that weird accent of hers. Yeah. But we'll get into Schitt's Creek later, guys. Um, but yeah, Beetlejuice is amazing. Beetlejuice, not so amazing, but still worthwhile, especially if you're
Mhm.
a fan of O'Hara. And so yeah, that was 1988, and that pretty much kicked it off to her wonderful film career, which I think this is probably the pinnacle. 1990, we saw the first Home Alone, where she played Kate McAllister, mother of Kevin McAllister, precocious little brat, who they accidentally leave home alone, but hilarity soon ensues. But Rachel, I know that you selected this one as one of your to talk about. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Home Alone.
I feel like I don't need to say much about the plot because
Yeah.
if you haven't seen Home Alone, just go watch Home Alone. It's great.
Kevin gets left home alone.
But
There's the plot.
what I want to say about Catherine O'Hara's character and her characterization in the movie, she is so amazing because she portrays something that honestly is very fearful for a kid. When you first realize that parents can be wrong, and not just wrong, but very wrong. Um, that initially in the movie that she's very overly stressed and has all this family that's running around the house and she's trying to manage kind of everybody and there's issues with luggage and there's issues with all sorts of various little things, tickets and passports and everything,
And pizzas.
and pizzas. And the fact that that her son, who is also a child and feeling very overwhelmed by all of this,
Hmm.
that because of people that are older and should know better, he like this situation happens that's very kind of traumatic for him. And that her reaction is, instead of taking a moment to uh, because she's clearly burnt out, instead of taking that moment to be like, hey, how did this happen, she just kind of jumps to, okay, you're gonna sleep up in the attic.
Right.
That's her reaction to it. And the fact that she gets that wrong and then immediately after gets something so wrong of leaving her child and
Yeah.
then having to spend the rest of the movie basically paying penance for that. It's just like it's kind of such an amazing thing to see because it plays so much into both parents' fear of what if I do something to mess up my kid,
Mhm.
which she plays out in the conversation with John Candy, but also the kids' fear of, if my parents don't know best, then what do I do?
Mhm.
Like, what does that mean then? And I think she does a great job of balancing those while also making the characters so funny at moments.
Yeah.
Even in moments of her desperation, at the airport saying,
Mhm.
if I have to sell my soul to Satan to get on this flight.
Well, I think you're highlighting a good thing about Home Alone. Like, you have the Home Alone that everyone always remembers is
Mhm.
Kevin dealing very
Yeah.
violently but hilariously with the wet bandits,
Yeah.
watching them just
Yes.
get maimed and burned and beaten.
Mhm.
But the lesser remembered, but also still fondly thought of, is her subplot of her
Yeah.
desperation of trying to get
Yeah.
back to him.
And
Like the fact that there's so
yeah.
much attention and paid to her doing everything she can to the
Yeah.
point where she's in the back of a van with a polka band
Mhm.
on her
Yeah.
way to Chicago
Mhm.
to get home.
Yeah. And of course, the reunion with her SCTV
Oh,
cast
Right.
member, John Candy.
yeah.
Yep.
The scenes
Yeah,
of her
definitely.
and Candy are some of the most tender moments in the movie. It's so believable. You could just
Yeah.
like feel like they've been old friends, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah. The
Um,
two playoff, which of course then we also have to highlight that in Home Alone, she made one of the most iconic film moments of all time of her, coming the Kevin,
Yeah.
with like
Yep.
that you just have boom, one of the most iconic moments in the
Mhm.
movie.
it's like, how do you make such a neglectful mother kind of funny? It's very
Yeah.
interesting how they achieved that through the script, through her performance,
Yeah.
and
But that's the thing, is that she's neglectful in the moment, but I wouldn't say that that's not her overriding characteristic. It's a thing that she was overwhelmed and that there were all these other things going on and
right.
she made a very human mistake in that moment.
She
But
put her faith
the
in the
reason
wrong
but the
people.
but the reason why we love her is because of the fact that she's fighting so hard to get home to her child.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what like endears us.
And
So
that had a slight planes, trains, automobiles vibe to it too.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Because
Definitely.
that's the John Hughes in that moment.
Yep.
Um, um, so
Yeah. And honestly, everybody remembers Macaulay Culkin, just putting his hands on his face and screaming. "Ah!"
yeah.
But which is iconic, but I think her shouting Kevin is just as iconic. Like
Yeah.
they have two iconic scenes in the film.
Yep. Yep.
If and it's just shame that she's not even on the poster of the film. Which
Yeah.
okay, the focus is on Kevin and him versing against the wet bandits while appreciating his family.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like Catherine O'Hara should, I don't know, be somewhere in that poster. I mean, I'm just saying she plays just as important of a role in this film as Macaulay Culkin does. So,
Mhm.
and they both go through arcs, which I
Yeah.
find very
Yeah.
amusing.
Hmm.
In fact, what I love about Home Alone, especially, if you don't mind me saying so, is when people think back of Home Alone, they think of like, oh, it's this comedy, it's slapstick, kid fights against burglars. But when you really dive underneath it,
Hmm.
it's actually a more profound Christmas movie
Mhm.
about family. Like it doesn't feel like these emotions that the characters are feeling are afterthoughts. There is some thoughtful arcs, not only for how Kevin learns to love his family, but also learns that people aren't as mean looking as they seem. Like his next door neighbor, Old Man Marley, and the best part is, Old Man Marley is not just a mentor for Kevin, but Kevin becomes a mentor for him. They have an equal friendship,
You're
which I
right.
thought was very lighthearted. And originally it wasn't going to be in the movie. That was the surprising part for me. And you think this would be a tacked on scene, but it doesn't. And also from a filmmaking standpoint, you'll notice that in earlier on the film, Kevin's shot from a height where he looks small and helpless, but throughout the film, he's shot in more medium shots to make him look more overpowering. In
Hmm.
fact, even the Christmas appeal of the film, not just through its soundtrack and use of snow, but almost every scene has the colors red or green or together, which I think is a very nice subtle detail. I think Home Alone is a more clever film than people give it credit for
No, it's
Yeah.
because,
incredible. Yeah.
100%.
and I also love that it's also cynical, dark, mean spirited, cartoony, emotional, and they work together so flawlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just can't praise this film any more enough than I already have. It's just one of the best Christmas films, one of my
My
top three
my only
favorites.
complaint is I wanted more of the McAllisters. I wanted more of the family dynamic. I
Yeah.
think I think they could have done maybe even
Well,
a spin-off TV show. That would have been
well,
interesting.
actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because there was a lot of deleted scenes that were cut for the film. In fact, Kevin's sister Lenny, who says, "You're what the French call les incompetents."
Mhm.
She actually goes through an arc herself. She actually tells the dad, "I don't think it's going to be Christmas without Kevin or Mom. Maybe we should go back to Chicago and go see Kevin rather than wait for them to come to Paris."
Wow.
And the dad agrees, and I think it's very deep. It's a shame they had to cut it out because of pacing issues, but
Mm.
I thought that would have been I thought that was a really nice, profound, and really well acted moment that should have been in the film.
Mhm.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
well acted. Love the performances. Also, someone we have not mentioned yet, John Hurd, who's also sadly not with us anymore. He was great as the dad, and I think that
Yeah.
it was believable that these two were married, and they did a
Yeah.
great job together.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Home Alone is a classic. I think it might have been the highest grossing film of 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so.
that's right. Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely,
I think so. Yeah.
It was a
I
bit
think
of a
that
hit.
checks out.
yeah, but definitely the top five.
Some And it's something that critics were like, "How is this a good movie?" Like, include especially
Yeah.
Siskel and Ebert, and that blows my mind at the time. A
No,
film that they panned is now considered an ultimate Christmas
Yeah.
staple
of
Yeah.
That's
course.
the
in
thing though.
holiday
They got
films.
it wrong a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, and sometimes to their credit, they did at a lot of points go back and sometimes re-review movies that maybe they had seen years before.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
sometimes they would change their minds. But
No,
yeah,
that
yeah,
Yeah,
happens.
they
it's
definitely warmed
crazy.
up to it.
Yeah. I have to watch it at least once a year for Christmas.
Yeah,
It's
same.
just heartwarming. It's funny. It is extremely violent, but in a weird family way. I don't know. It just
Well, I mean,
works.
it's violent in the same way as like a,
Bugs
but
Bunny.
yeah, but it's a
Three
Looney
Yeah.
Tunes.
Stooges.
True, true. But when you see it
The,
live action, it's just a little more
I don't know.
impactful. I don't know.
I mean, the only
I don't
one
know.
that
The Three
always,
Stooges stands
Mhm.
I was gonna
out to
say,
Yeah.
yeah,
me. They're
they're
very
the
violent.
only trap that still to this day just makes me go, no, is the nail in the tar.
Yeah.
Hands
That is
Because
down.
you see the foot, the foot go slowly into,
yeah, that
you
one.
know.
Yeah.
I like all the paint cans, the burnings, the micro, all the stuff. That nail,
No,
that's the
because
one that I'm just
Oh
like,
the
man.
the paint
nope.
can bit does hit differently after seeing I don't know if you've ever seen the movie but Better Watch
Oh
Out. But
yeah.
there's a bit involving them recreating the paint can bit in real life and
Yeah.
it is not cute.
Well, I
Wait,
mean,
wait.
to be fair, it's like Home Alone 2 is where Kevin is trying to murder them. Home Alone
Yeah,
1 is
Oh yeah,
these are
definitely.
things
these are
take a turn.
hijinks.
Yeah.
2 is no, 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 they're dead.
Yes, yes. Well, in all fairness, the first one there was a potential. Yeah, they wanted to murder Kevin too.
Yeah.
And in the second one, which we're going to get to in about a minute, Joe Pesci brandishes a pistol. It's like things really took a turn in that one. And I think
Mhm.
that's a good segue, Tyler. I know you picked Home Alone 2, Lost in New York as one of your films. So take it
Yes,
away.
I did. Well, to summarize it in short, it's pretty much the same movie just set in New York. He's not even home alone. He's just alone in New York City, hence
Right.
the title Lost in New York. And coincidentally, he runs into the wet bandits who escaped from prison at the end of the first film. Spoiler alert. And yeah, Kevin's just trying to outwit the bandits again while living the high life in the city in New York City's Plaza Hotel. Now, remember when I told you that the first film had a emotional backbone that felt warranted? This film does not. I mean, there are emotional things in the movie,
Yeah.
but they all feel like second thoughts. They don't feel like they don't flow with the story as they did in the first film. In fact, this film was an obvious cash grab. In fact,
Mhm.
Macaulay Culkin himself even said this is his favorite movie because he got paid more. Now, the problems I have with the film, I will get to the good stuff, but just to get these out of the way, the problems I have with the film is it's too predictable with its repeated formula. The
Mhm.
characters constantly remind each other about how they grew from the previous events, yet forgot the whole point of what they learned from the first movie. The lesson of performing a good deed, from the woman that's out in the street with all the birds, that just comes right out of nowhere. The film is not building up with it. Kevin's reason for being away from the family makes no sense. And even the pigeon lady's story feels really half baked. Like, we
Right.
don't get a lot of backstory from her. We don't get a good conclusion with her like Old Man Marley. She just felt like a forced in Old Man Marley, although portrayed very well by
Brenda
the
Fricker.
actress Brenda Fricker. Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of my biggest criticisms as well is Catherine O'Hara, not performance wise. Every time she's on screen, she is incredible. She's still giving the same life and energy as she did in the first film.
Yeah.
But here, she doesn't really have anything to do. I
Yeah.
mean, when you really get down, she just kind of sits there and waits like any mother would. She doesn't know where Kevin is. She has little screen time. And then when she finally goes to New York and do something and stands up to Tim Curry, which I'll get to shortly, she doesn't really get to do much. Yeah, she goes to New York City, but we don't really see the lengths that she does to find her son, like in the first film. She
Mhm.
really feels like an afterthought in the movie, though again, still powerfully performed, still making the most of the little material she's given, which I
Right.
commend her as an actress. Now, the film itself, while I can't call it as good as the first film, I will say this: I love the first film more. I think it's a superior movie, but this one I get the bigger laughs out of.
Mhm.
Yes, the gags are repeated, but they're done in such a crazy, over the top, cartoony fashion more than the first film. I can't help but bust a gut laughing at the traps, at the shenanigans, at the Angels with Filthy Souls bit done again, this time with Tim Curry, which, by the way, I do love the supporting cast better in the first movie, but out of all the supporting cast members in both films, Tim Curry is my favorite. There's not a
Yeah.
second of screen time
Well,
wasted with
I
him.
was gonna say
He is
like you
just
did.
chewing up the scenery.
He's great.
Yeah. But like you were
And
talking
the,
about in the first one, how you're like, oh, I wish we spent more time with the McAllisters. And I think the problem I have with the sequel is I'm like, okay, you gotta have the wet bandits again, but it's like, but the hijinks with the hotel staff with Tim Curry was
Yeah.
way more
Mhm.
entertaining. It's like almost to the point where I'm like, is there a good movie where it's just Kevin versus the hotel staff?
Yeah.
Like that
Mhm.
that like
That
that
was really
might be
cool.
the better movie.
Yeah, and
Right.
Right.
I think also the problem with Catherine O'Hara's like her character's journey in it is that
Right.
in the previous one she had a very clear destination.
Right.
She's trying to get to
Right.
the house where
Exactly.
he is. In this one, she's going to New York City,
Mhm.
which is a very big place with a whole lot of
Mhm.
people. And this is a
Mhm.
time before cell phones
Right.
or any
Mhm.
sort of easy way to get a hold of him quickly. So
Right.
Because
And it
But
also comes
but
very late in the film too, when she finally goes to New York City. Don't
right,
forget that
oh,
it
right.
happens in the
and I
third
wanted to
act.
mention one of my probably my favorite scene. Well, there are two favorite scenes of mine with O'Hara.
Mhm.
We've got her. She goes up to this cop car and tells the police officer, "Do you have kids?" Like
Yeah,
that was very good. We needed more stuff like that. Her
exactly.
her journey, like you said, Rachel.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of her quest in New York, just searching. Also, the finale when she finally is reunited with Kevin in front of the Christmas tree, very beautiful. I mean, obviously, it was they just ripped it off the first movie, basically.
Right.
But
It
still,
is.
when you have John Williams' score soaring, it's an amazing moment.
Mhm. Yeah, and a favorite scene of mine with Catherine O'Hara is when she stands up to Tim Curry and yelling at the staff, "What kind of idiots do you have working here?" And you have one of them say, "The
Why
finest
is
in
it
New
New
York."
York?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then you have Tim Curry who's like trying to butt in, and he tells her, "Listen, this city is full of hundreds of parasites." And then she just slaps him, and Tim Curry's just like, "Bundle up, it's very cold out."
Very cool.
I mean, that's his last scene, and he makes an impact. But Catherine O'Hara, she is so strong. She is so willfully empowered. I love how she even says, like, no mugger or murderer is ever going to stop me. Like, it's the same determination. And I really wish we had more of that in the film.
Yeah.
But one other positive I do want to bring up with the film is I think the film also, at least the reason why I enjoyed it as a kid, was the New York City Christmas aesthetic because it looks gorgeous in the film. And not only that, it's a kid living a dream. I mean, how cool is it for a kid to, stay at a hotel, um, eating junk food, going into a limousine around the city with the greatest looking cheese pizza I've ever seen in cinema, saving a toy store that looks like FAO Schwartz. Like, it's incredible. Like, it's every kid's fantasy. So I think it's a very fun film, but I don't think it's as emotionally compelling or as smartly written as the first one.
Yeah.
That's really
Agreed.
my general
Well,
analysis
you
on the
did
film.
touch on Duncan's toy chest, and the character of Mr. Duncan was fantastic, by the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Eddie
Eddie
Bracken,
Bracken.
yeah, old time actor, and he was
Mhm.
just fantastic. So sweet with the turtle doves,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's a great moment.